USCHO.com. This is the USCHO Spotlight, a weekly podcast from U.S. College Hockey Online at USCHO.com, featuring conversations with college hockey coaches and players and journalists who cover the sport.
Welcome to USCHO Spotlight, being recorded on October 22nd, 2019. I'm Ed Trefzger alongside Jim Connelly. For 16 seasons, this gentleman has been behind the bench of Robert Morris University.
And we welcome in this week on USCHO Spotlight the head coach of Robert Morris. That's Derek Schooley. And Derek, a good start to your season, I would say, particularly in the league play. You've played 4 league games, 3-1. You went on the road last weekend and split with a very tough Army West Point team. How do you see things so far?
Well, it's been interesting because we're really beat up and injured right now, but we're finding ways to get points out of all the games except one, and our goaltending has been outstanding. Our penalty kill has been very good, and we found ways to win. I don't know if it's the right recipe that we're finding right now to win hockey games over a sustained amount of time, relying on our penalty kill and goaltending, but we're finding ways to do it in the short term, that's for sure.
Not a lot of teams at this point have played 4 league games, no matter what league they're in. You have in an opening weekend sweep of Bentley at home. Then, as I mentioned, you have Army. You post a shutout against them on Sunday. I guess league play is dictates so much of your season in terms of just how you finish your playoff positioning. So to get these points early, I mean, I've always said you get points early, you can't take them away from teams. It's got to be nice to feel that you're playing well in your league right off the bat.
Well, we knew that obviously playing 4 games, you wanted to almost like golf, be in the first in the clubhouse and posting a number. So we're going this weekend. We're out of conference next weekend. We're off. So teams will have a chance to catch us, and we want to put a number up there and see where we are after only playing 1 game and then playing no games on a weekend. And I think taking 3 or 4 and sweeping at home and splitting on the road is pretty good. And anytime you take 3 or 4 games and to start the year, it's good. But if you can consistently do that throughout the year, you put yourself in a really good spot.
3 wins out of 4, nice. 2 shutouts in that from a senior, actually a graduate transfer, in Justin Kappelmaster. That has to be a good sign when you know that you're getting good team defense, good goaltending right out of the chute.
Well, Justin has made a very good first impression and second impression, and now a third impression. He's played 5 or 6 games, and I didn't know where we were going to go with our goaltending, and with losing our returner or our guy that we've relied on the past 3 years. But Justin's done a very good job, and anytime you put up a 9.64 overall save percentage and 1.38, and in conference he's a 97 save percentage. That's pretty good, and mix in a couple shutouts, and he's a big reason why we're 3-1 overall in conference, I should say.
Just kind of a follow-up on that. This transfer rule seemed to be pretty obscure a few years ago. Now it seems like a lot of players are using it. Do you have any general thoughts on that rule and what it does to affect teams? I mean, you both were hurt by it potentially and then benefiting by it.
Well, that's not my decision to make. That's the NCAA's decision to make. I think it's, it basically starts free agency in college athletics. And you see it in all sports, and everybody leaves for a different reason, and you get people in for different reasons. But I'm not we're using it to our advantage, and we only had 90 minutes returning a goal between Dylan Lubismeyer and Reed Cooper, so we want to go get somebody with experience, and obviously Justin's provided that. But I'm a traditionalist. I like the old school, and I like the way that you're committed to them, and you're committed to them, and they're committed to you. And but basically starting free agency a little bit, and we'll see. I've heard rumors that it's going to be tightened up a little bit, and it's not going to be allowed as much, but we'll see where it is. And not a fan of it, but we'll use it to our advantage if we have to.
You mentioned relying on goaltending and special teams early on. What are some things that you like so far that you're seeing from your team, particularly from maybe your freshmen?
Well, we challenge our freshmen. Like I said in the beginning of the call, we're really beat up now. We've got 3 of our top 6 forwards were out this past weekend on Sunday, and we asked our freshmen to step up. And we got goals from Darcy Walsh and Cam Eber, which really provided a lift for our team. And our penalty killing has been outstanding with our seniors, and our seniors done a good job in Alex Robert and Sean Giles. And then mix in Brendan McCallion, and Nick Jenny is playing his best hockey of his career as a junior, and Nolan Schaefer as a sophomore. That's a really solid top 5. And we're proud of, take a lot of pride in the penalty kill, and we've done a pretty good job of it. And you get a good goaltender, and that helps your penalty killing as well.
It seems that every year Robert Morris finds a way into the Final Four of Atlantic hockey. And last year you had to do it on the road, taking 3 games from Bentley, or taking game 3 from Bentley. What is it that you're able to do, or your team is able to do late in the season to really be able to move ahead and have some success late?
Well, we've just found a way to get the job done. I think we've got a lot of guys who have played a lot of hockey, and they know what they need to do to be successful come playoffs. And it's not the blueprint we've drawn up. We want to be more consistent in the regular season, and we want to finish higher in the standings. We don't want to have to go out of the road in the second round. But we found a way to get the job done, and that's a credit to our guys. And 6 straight Atlantic hockey Final Fours is ties Air Force for a league record, and something we're proud of. And now we want to continue with our 7th, and starting out 3-3 overall and 3-1 in conference play is good, but we think we got more in the tank as well.
That was a very competitive Final Four and championship playoffs there in Atlantic hockey. It really seems like any one of the 4 teams, AIC is the one that moved on and had success, but it seems like any one of the 4 teams that made it there was in a position to do well in the postseason in the NCAAs.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 games went to overtime. So that just shows you the parity. And our league is so good from top to bottom. And I think that's one of the things that makes we don't have any dogs at the bottom. You used to be able to look at the standings sometimes and go, we'll get these points, we'll get these points, and we'll get these points. But nobody's guaranteed anything anymore. And that's a credit to our league. It's a credit to our coaches. It's a credit to our players. And our league has just become, in a sense, not just a group of teams together. It's now a top to bottom league.
And it's nice to see some early out of conference success among all the teams in the league.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm big. You're big fans when you see teams play, and big wins so far. And you look at them, you text guys, you say congratulations, but that just helps the profile of Atlantic hockey and legitimizes our league even more.
We're talking with Derek Schooley, head coach at Robert Morris. One of the things the league did this year was adopt the 3-on-3 and the shootout. Were you one of the guys who was strongly in favor of that?
Yes, it was. I think we're in the entertainment business, and we need to make sure that nobody wants to see ties anymore. And I know there are good ties, and that's the naysayers of the overtime. But we're evolving. Hockey's evolving. It's been a long time since I went to 3-on-3 and shootouts in the NHL, and we're finally catching up. I think the next step will be to watch it go nationally and to see all how it benefits pairwise and RPI and all that kind of stuff when it comes to the NCAA tournament. But I'm excited to see a game. I've got on my card sheet who's going to play 3-on-3. I've got my shootout shooters ready. So we haven't been there yet. We've been in overtime against Michigan Tech, but we haven't had a chance to get to the 3-on-3 overtime yet. So I'm waiting to see it, and nobody has in the few league games that have been played so far. And look to see the reaction of the coaches and everybody. I know the players are in favor. The players love it, but we'll see how it goes from there.
When we were talking with Steve Rollick last week, one of the things I brought up is how his Ohio State team against your alma mater, Western Michigan, went to 3-on-3 in a shootout. And the 3-on-3 was exciting, and then everybody had to stand around for 5 or 10 minutes while they scraped the ice for the Zamboni. That may be the one flaw I see in it, but maybe that'll help build the anticipation. I don't know.
Well, I don't even think we've decided as a league we want to get it moving. So we're not going to scrape the ice. We'll play the 3-on-3. They'll have the ice crew or the ice people, and they'll just make a couple passes down the middle and won't bring the Zamboni out. We're pretty quick with it and won't make it long, drawn-out process.
More with Derek Schooley in a moment.
This is the USCHO Spotlight, a weekly podcast from U.S. College Hockey Online.
Our conversation continues with Robert Morris head coach Derek Schooley. You got kind of your baptism by fire as a member of the Division I men's ice hockey committee in Buffalo, including having to make a tough decision about suspending a player for the national championship game. How's your experience been so far serving on the committee?
Oh, it's been outstanding. There's great people there, and Mike Schaefer, Mike Corbett, Steve Metcalf does a great job, Mike Kemp, and then we've had some change over this past year with new administrators coming on, but Kristen does a great job in promoting college hockey, and the Frozen Four is just such a tremendous event. So I can always say good things about my experience there. And yeah, it was a little challenging, but I think at the end of the day, the committee got it right and made the right decision at that time.
Derek, as you think about the role on the committee, I know you went through the meetings over the summer. Might have been a shock to a lot of people in the college hockey world that have been around the Frozen Four for a number of years to not see the greatest attendance in Buffalo. I know that you can easily put that down as a one-off, but do you feel that that's something that can be addressed, will be addressed, or is it just something that we have to look at as, that was just a unique situation? We feel that most cities going forward will have great attendance at Frozen Fours.
Well, I can't speak for the committee or what we do, and that's not really my place, but I can tell you as a coach, obviously you want to make sure that your national championships are attended well. And I'm sure that the powers that be at the higher levels than where I'm sit are looking and seeing that, and we'll make some changes and some determinations moving forward to make sure that doesn't happen again, and hope it is a one-off, because the Frozen Four is an outstanding event, and I know all the coaches, all the people involved, media, fans want to keep it that way, and don't want to see as many open seats as there was. And so I'm sure it will probably be addressed at higher levels than just the coaches or even a lowly committee guy like myself.
I will tell you, it was still a great experience, I think, for anybody that was in Buffalo. We're talking with Derek Schooley, the head coach of Robert Morris. He's also a member of the Division I men's ice hockey committee. Going back to what you were saying about non-league play, as you have gone on, you've now been at Robert Morris for quite some time, since the beginning of the program. But have you found it easier to put together a non-league schedule? I know that at times Atlantic hockey teams had challenges. Do you feel like putting together a non-league schedule has gotten any easier?
Well, I think we only need 6 games, so you can be a little bit strategic with what you're doing. You need to make sure that you're playing the right teams, playing teams that give you some good jump in the pairwise and the RPI, but also make sure you get home games. And I think that's one of the biggest things that our league has done a good job of, making sure that we've got some more home games, which give us the best opportunity to win. And this year we've got 3 in Pittsburgh and 3 on the road. Next year we got 4 in Pittsburgh and 2 on the road. So I think those are important to make sure that you get home games for your fans as well. And a little history lesson for you, Jimmy. In 2004, on October 22nd, which is today, Robert Morris Colonials won their first ever game in their first ever attempt. So 15 years ago today, we won our first game. So it's been pretty exciting. And this past weekend, we got our 250th win as a program. So it's Colonials have been around a while, but we're still hitting a lot of milestones as a program.
Well, I think one of the great things too, Derek, is that you play in a fantastic market, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 2 years from now, it will be the host to another Frozen Four. What has that market been like? I mean, I've been out there for you when you had your mid-season tournament around Christmas time. I've been to the Frozen Four. I've been to an NHL draft there. It seems like a city that just eats up hockey. What has it been like to exist as a school right in the middle of that city?
Well, first and foremost, in the city of Pittsburgh, it's really exciting because the Pittsburgh Penguins do such a good job of going from top down and in their marketing of the programs and youth hockey, and they want to be involved in see the first person go from youth hockey in Pittsburgh to junior hockey or youth hockey or to high school hockey and then to college hockey, then eventually play for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they do a very good job with all the stuff that they do provide for Pittsburgh youth hockey and amateur hockey. So to see it grow, Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup, see Sidney Crosby. Since I've been here, I've seen Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Fleury. I've seen Lemieux play, Letang. That's a lot of very good hockey players that have played in the city, and it's really become a real hockey town.
This weekend, just a single game on the schedule, but I have to think that the ability to play an in-state rival, there's not a lot, for you to technically play within your own state, and particularly out of your league. It's really only Penn State. And there you have them on your schedule this Friday at Penn State. We know that they're a team that likes to shoot the puck. We know they're a team that loves to generate offense. How do you attack an opponent like a Penn State?
Well, obviously, you got to make sure that you're ready and prepared to start on time. You want to start right at 7:05. You can't give them a lead, and you can't play from behind. You got to make sure you keep the game as close as possible, as long as you can, and in turn put pucks on the net yourself. No shot's a bad shot. You have to be good away from the net too, because there's going to be rebounds and they're going to be shooting from everywhere. So you have to be ready away from pucks and making sure you're blocking shots and doing all the little things that you have to do to be successful on the road.
Well, Derek, we appreciate your time, especially if anybody has listened to this. They know that Derek is not a 100% himself in terms of a raspy voice, a little bit too much yelling, I'm assuming, and traveling over these days. But best of luck the rest of the way. Thanks so much for your time, and we always appreciate being able to catch up with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it and I apologize. Like I said, we traveled way back from West Point on Sunday, and I got a little bit of cold going, so I appreciate dealing with my raspy voice.
Jim, it's always interesting to talk with Derek Schooley, and I found it interesting, his sort of ambivalence on the transfer rule. It has worked for him, it could have worked against him, and may not be something he likes, and it's certainly something that needs to be taken up. I
agree. And I don't know where things will go with it. He mentioned that they might be trying to curb back some of what can be done. The reality is that so many programs, especially in men's hockey, because you're on campus so many months, it's a long season, and then you add in postseason, preseason training, all of that sort of stuff. Most schools, I believe their students are on campus between 10 and 11 months. There's not a lot of time to go home. So that just means there's more time to take classes. And because of that, you're finding so many student athletes able to complete their entire undergraduate degree in 3 years, which then does kind of enter in free agency. If you're not exactly happy with where you are, you're going to transfer out. No penalty. You're going to go to a program that you believe is more competitive. It's not the best look for college hockey, I know as I say that, I don't even take into account I don't even have the right word for what's going on in college football right now, where the NCAA is making these decisions on, can a kid transfer with no penalty and do it quickly and not having to sit out a year? And then they make bad decisions, in my opinion, when kids that have hardship cases shouldn't sit out years, they make them sit out. So there's so much going on the football side. It's hard to kind of compare the two, but there is a direct comparison and a direct correlation into how things work. And for me, and I guess I kind of side with Derek, I don't feel that free agency in college hockey is the right thing to have. There is always going to be times that you have players that are disgruntled and don't like a coach. They don't like a program. They don't like their playing time. They might want to move, but that's why you have 5 years to play 4. And that's why you sit out a year. So the direct graduate transfer to me does not benefit the game, in my opinion. I guess there's a lot of coaches out there that have figured out a way to take advantage of the rule, but I'm not a fan either. And I know that Derek in the Robert Morris program lost a player and then got a player back through the exact same rule this year. But I like his honesty. The fact that he said he's not a guy that kind of favors free agency. And I get it. He doesn't really want this rule in there, but he will make sure that if it's there, he's going to make sure that he takes advantage of it, when needed.
Well, it hasn't always been successful in a transfer situation. I think last year for Wisconsin, but this year transfers are making a big difference. We have Craig Pantano transferring to Northeastern. We have Frank Marat, who transferred from Robert Morris to Clarkson, off to a good start, and certainly Justin Kapelmaster doing very well for Robert Morris. So it seems like goalies are the big thing, and a goalie can make or break a team. It's like Derek's mentor and fellow coach in Atlantic hockey, Frank Serratori, says sometimes he thinks the game shouldn't be called hockey, it should be called goalie.
Well, and that's it, Ed, too, is that the one position where I think the graduate transfer favors the most is goaltending, because no matter what, you cannot teach experience. You cannot just give somebody experience in college hockey. So if you walk in with 3 years of solid experience to a team that is pretty competitive, you can make them more competitive. No freshman, I don't care who you are, it doesn't matter how good you are, you cannot have that same level of experience. It's unpurchasable. You can do it at a defenseman in a freshman spot where you bring in these guys who are really good. You look at Cole Caulfield at Wisconsin, just jumps right in. But goaltending is different. The speed of the game is different. The pace of the game is different. And you have to find a way as a goaltender to realize how fast the game is going to come at you. If you've already done it for 3 years, and you look at Kapelmaster, who did it at Ferris State, you've seen a lot of really good hockey teams coming at you. Now you go into another league, nothing changes. You're still seeing good hockey coming at you. You're still prepared. You're just doing it in a different uniform. So I think that goaltending is the one area that is probably the more of a game changer than any other position.
And I think back, not even players who have had a lot of game experience, but some who maybe have ended up being a backup for 3 years behind somebody. Charles Williams, who came into Canisius a couple of seasons ago, made the big difference on that team, was a Richter finalist, didn't get a lot of playing time at Ferris State, and made all the difference backstopping Canisius. Well, that'll do it for this episode of USCHO Spotlight. We also have USCHO Game of the Week coming up later this week. And at the end of each weekend, USCHO Weekend Review. Visit uscho.com/podcasts to listen or subscribe. For Jim Connelly, I'm Ed Trefzger, and we'll catch you next time.
This has been the USCHO Spotlight, a production of US College Hockey Online. Visit uscho.com/podcasts to listen or subscribe.